what I feel like the Detroit Lions have done. Now, conversely, there is a team that also has a kitty cat mascot, and there's blue in it. And I don't think you're going to like what I have to say about what they've done.
Okay. Obviously, you're talking about the Carolina Panthers.
The Adam Thielen deal is awful. It's an awful signing. It is a desperation move from a team that overpaid to get the number one pick.
Why? Because you gave him too much guaranteed money?
I can literally just blow sunshine and rainbows up your keister all you want me to, but I'd be lying. This is a 33-year-old receiver that's 33 going on 38. You just gave him $14 million guaranteed. Now, can he be a good locker room guy? Sure. He should not be anything better than your third receiver, and I don't see this is what bothered me when Carolina traded up, is that I'm looking at how you're going to build this roster. I have a huge aversion to playing non-franchise level quarterbacks with bad rosters. I just do. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence, he could deal with having a mediocre roster around him because he's an elite prospect. There's not an elite quarterback prospect in this draft. Fact or fiction? I mean, I know I'm the draft guy, but
I felt like there were two, weren't there?
Well, one of them's small, and one of them has good tape at times, bad tape at times. I feel like C.J. Stroud needs to be developed if that's what you're doing. Alex S. asked us in the YouTube comments, do you believe in Terrace Marshall or Shi Smith? I love Shi Smith. That's a 4. I know I've never really bought into Terrace Marshall. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like every one of your receivers is stepping up a spot from where they should be. Hayden Hurst should not be your no-doubt highly paid tight end. Terrace Marshall should not be your 2. Adam Thielen should not be the most distinguished receiver in your room if you're going to put a young quarterback back behind it, because you're putting him behind the 8 ball. Because now he's going to – what does that do? And I've watched this probably 50 times over the last 20 years. You put a quarterback that comes in with this pedigree, and you bring him to the NFL. What does the game do when you come in?
Speeds up.
It speeds up. Everything is faster at the NFL level. So now, and I'm going under the assumption that it's C.J. Stroud. Could it be Bryce Young? Yes. I heard what Scott Fitterer said today. Size doesn't make all the okay. From today until April 27th, I don't believe a word anybody says out loud. I've been burned too many times. So let's go into the assumption that it's C.J. Stroud. What was his biggest problem at Ohio State? He stared down receivers until they got open. Okay. That doesn't happen in the NFL. In the NFL, you have split-second windows to get the ball after the break, however it's schemed up. It's split-second decisions. And this is a guy that holds on to the ball too long. That's not an opinion. It's a fact. He would tell you the same thing. So instead of giving him speed receivers, I like DJ Chark. Do I like him being your 1? No, I don't. There's a reason that no team in the league has been interested in that. But you're desperate because you traded DJ Moore in a trade that you shouldn't have. And so now all you're doing is catching up. I'm going to go get Adam Thielen because he's the best receiver on the market. He's still a broken-down 33-year-old slot guy. That's what he is. And I'm looking around going, I like a lot of this roster, but your weapons absolutely terrify me. And it makes me like this move so much less. Mm-hmm. This is what I said when we did that mock draft right after the trade happened. I don't know who you thought was jumping up there to make that deal with the Bears. That team doesn't exist. And since this trade's been made, I've had yet to have one person in the NFL say, "Oh yeah, they had there was a real legitimate threat from the Raiders or the Colts." What I was told, the Bears talked to the Colts about 4. They said, "We want your 1 this year, your 1 next year, and Michael Pittman Jr." And they laughed out loud, and there was never another conversation had. Because Chris Ballard walked away and said, "You are delusional." Mm-hmm. So there's no point in me talking to you because you're a crazy person. Mm-hmm. I think they thought closer to the draft they'd be able to make something work. Then Carolina comes in and does something desperate. I always hate when you make moves like that. I didn't feel like you had to move up. And if you did, you didn't have to move up this far. Chicago was no threat to take a quarterback. Arizona's no threat to take a quarterback. Seattle, Detroit at this point, I don't really value to be a threat to take a quarterback unless one fell in their lap. Mm-hmm. So now you've given up all of this draft capital and all these assets, and you're chasing. And you're throwing bad money at a bad problem. And that's what happens when you sign somebody like Adam Thielen. I'm not telling you he's not a great locker room guy. He is. Patrick Holt with a perfect comment here. Look at what Adam Thielen did last year and understand that the best receiver in the NFL was on the other side of him.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that's going to turn into when you got Terrace Marshall on the other side of him? That's my problem. When you make reactionary moves, bad things tend to happen. And I'm looking around that division going, New Orleans right now is better to me, and I don't think it's all that close.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're better than Atlanta, and I think you're better than Tampa Bay. By the way, if you didn't see their tweet today with Baker Mayfield, it said, "Let's bake." I want that framed and put in this studio immediately.
No, let's not do that.
Well, it's already happening, so it's going to be sitting right here over my head come about the end of the week.
Yeah, I'm completely on the other side of you on the Carolina Panthers thing. Did they pay a premium? Yes, they did, but they had to do that to get to the number one pick.
That's
because you wanted to have, no doubt, your guy.
Okay,
whichever
then why do you
guy
keep
that
trying
is.
to here's what bothers me about that. Then why do you keep telling me that there's so many quarterbacks you feel comfortable with? What are you trying to leverage?
There's two.
What Scott Fitter said today is that there are multiple quarterbacks we like. We will not be deterred by size alone, and we feel like there are multiple franchise guys in this draft. If you believe that, then why did you trade up to one?
Mm-hmm.
You made a deal that no team in the league would have made other than you.
Who else was shopping their pick? Could you have gotten Houston at 2? No, Houston was the one you were scared of. Houston's the one that you knew you weren't going to get one of your guys. I feel like they're all in for CJ Stroud.
And that's fine. Then say that. Because everything you're saying is making you sound stupid.
I get it.
But this idea that you would trade back down. No. Everybody in the NFL would make fun of you instantaneously.
Right.
Because you gave up 130% to get there, and you'll get 95% to move back down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, allegedly, you could still lose your guy. Doesn't make any sense.
Of course it doesn't.
Stop trying to make me believe things. All right, there's somebody you went to get. Let's talk about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody impeding you. So if it's C.J. Stroud, whatever the case may be, stop trying to sell me on everybody else. I told you this before the show.
I don't know why franchises feel like they have to play this game.
It's infuriating,
mm-hmm.
and they don't do it behind closed doors. And then it's, well, this is off the record. Don't say that.
Right.
Why? What does it matter? You're picking one. Nobody can mess with you. You paid the premium to go get the guy. Sell me on the guy. Mm-hmm. Stop selling me on how good this quarterback class is. It's not. And I'm not a moron, so I already know that. If there was an elite quarterback in this class, elite, would Chicago have traded the number one pick?
No.
No,
if Trevor Lawrence was on the board at 1, they wouldn't even have been
They would have taken him, and they would have gone, well, I hope we get a 3 for Justin Fields because he's going away from here.
Right. Carolina.
I get putting lipstick on the pig.
Mm-hmm.
I do. You have to sell me on it. You have to really rally up the fan base. I get that. But rally me on the one guy that you came up here to get. Because everything you're saying now and all of these moves are making me think that you don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
If your plan when you traded DJ Moore was we're going to walk into this year with Adam Thielen and Terrace Marshall and Shi Smith and Hayden Hurst and Miles Sanders, okay, that sounds like a Madden Ultimate Team when you first bought the game.
Right.
It's fine. You get where you're going, but it's going to be much more difficult than it would be if you had a plan.
Mm-hmm. $14 million guaranteed for Adam Thielen
is insane.
It's a bit. It's a bit. But also, if you're looking to build a culture, this is somebody that Frank Reich wants that, he wants that veteran leadership in the locker room, and he wants steady hands for a rookie quarterback, which Adam Thielen has.
I have no
and
problem
so we'll
with
play him out of the slot,
guy.
And we'll give him, we'll play it short. We'll run the damn ball with Miles Sanders, that we just signed in free agency. We're going to play damn good defense. I look at this completely different. I mean, would I have paid that much to get up to number 1 for a questionable quarterback? No, probably not. But you felt like you had to make the move because you didn't know when you were going to get the opportunity to do it again.
The thing I don't understand is if you wanted to pay that premium because you believe in a guy and you're willing to stake your reputation on it, which you obviously are because you made the trade, sell me on that guy.
Yeah.
Stop trying to sell me on the process. Just, okay, lather it up. Tell me who this guy is. And then let me fall in love with that. Don't play this cloak and dagger game for the next 38 days. Because by the end of it, here's what's going to happen. You will have convinced a portion of your fan base that they love C.J. Stroud. You will have convinced a portion of your fan base that they love Bryce Young. And you will have convinced a portion of your fan base that they love Anthony Richardson. And you know what? These two are going to be disappointed in whoever you take. You've got a section of the fan base that's disappointed, and now if this doesn't work out, you look dumb to the fan base. Mm-hmm. I watch teams do this every single year, and it is absolutely maddening to me.
The only thing I can think is maybe the reason they do this is to appease those folks who are all over Anthony Richardson or those who are all over Bryce Young. We kept our window open, we kept looking at these quarterbacks, and then once we get closer to the draft, we get like 2 weeks away, then maybe we'll go all in on C.J. Stroud. This is our guy.
This is a quarterback class that if I'm trying to convince you to love a guy or hate a guy, I can do it in 3 sentences. But when you keep telling me that there's so many in this draft class, then why did you trade up that far? Because that doesn't make any sense to me.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN